Hey guys, I'm Jax Cab and welcome to the first artist feature. For the first one, I really wanted to feature Bongani Zulu. He's a very special artist on the label. He was our first ever vinyl release. His music has been getting support from some of the top DJs in the country and we're just really honored to have him on board.
I think it's mostly through just the way I produce, in the sense that I'm not advanced enough to know the methods to using a lot of stems in my tracks. So I keep like my production very simple in that manner. So I don't use a lot of elements. And through that, I think it just gives it a very like original, like no nonsense, very cut down, like organic feel. A lot of the instruments I use as well, I try not to use a lot of harsh, like electronic sounding instruments. Very like low end of the spectrum, warm type sounding instruments. I record a lot of ambient noises. That's basically the most of the elements that I record and I put into my production. Like on the first track, basically the gist of the track is ambient noise I recorded at Park Acoustics. Room to Breathe is my own vocals, very like deep, but those are my own vocals. I basically just use my own vocals and a lot of ambient noises that I hear like at restaurants or on buses or just at home, like playing in the kitchen or whatever. It honestly made me feel so happy because it doesn't sound like an idea that I gave. It sounded like their own interpretation, or that's what you said, but like it sounded like their own take on the music. They honestly took it to like a whole different level and their own ideas came out very brightly, I think, in the tracks. So just to hear that coming back is just an amazing feeling. Honestly, kind of a dream that I've had to have a release on vinyl, because I've started collecting, and now having the ability to actually play my own music out on vinyl is probably one of the most rewarding feelings to have as a producer. Also just having like, I think in our age, a lot of people kind of regard music in the digital, but like a lot of the older generation had physical forms of music like tapes, CDs and vinyls, and just having that vinyl and being able to give it to older people, I think also gives it a more special feeling because they can connect with it in that way instead of hearing it like through digital forms. And also it's a physical form of music, so I'll have it for as long as I live. Playing at Toy is honestly, every time I play it's very surreal because I went there, I think maybe 2016 when Luigi Tosi played there. That was the first time I went. I honestly never thought I'd see myself playing there in like such a short time frame. So it's really a blessing to play there. As always, it's pretty amazing. The sound system, I think, speaks for itself. With regards to the sound that I present there, I think I try to bring my own influences into the sound I play there. So not too much going on in the background, just very straightforward, but not hardcore techno. Kind of like techno that you can really dance to, but it isn't too aggressive and coming at you all the time. So Desolate is kind of a step up in my production because I use a lot of techniques that my friend Vic has taught me in that track. So I wanted to try them out on something new, and it came out pretty well. I think it's a better sounding track in terms of like quality than what I've put out. Also, another friend of mine, Romaro, said that not a lot of the people he knows who produce music produce like I guess bangers and commercial-ish music. So that's what I also try to go for there, just something that isn't like very lazy, just something that's very, gets your head bobbing and very, I guess, aggressive in a sense. So I produced that track. I'm really happy about the way it came out. I'm very excited to have it on the compilation, just to be part of that whole group of people who are releasing on there. It's an honor. Yeah, I think it's a very good vision into what I'm producing right now. Very stripped down music, because I had fallen into a sort of a pattern with very slow tempo music, but I want to try and go into music that has a faster tempo. That's the stuff I enjoy as well, so I want to try branch into that too. And I think Desolate is a very good window into what's coming next. So my influences really come from a lot of 70s music that was popular, like Commodores, Rick James, because my dad really used to love that music and played a lot. So that's where most of my influence comes from, very soul and funk influence. So from my dad's influences, I started looking for more music on my own because my brother's also a DJ and producer. So he would really start digging for a lot of tracks and looking for a lot of music. So I just wanted to be like my big brother and do the same as well. So from those funk influences, I started looking for music that had certain elements that reminded me of those influences. For example, bass lines that aren't necessarily like monotonous, that move around a lot. Or, for example, very brash horns and elements like that in music that I liked. So firstly, that would have actually taken me to bass house. That's actually how I started my first DJ, was through bass house music. Then from bass house, I went towards minimal, and that was mostly influenced as well by actually Rage 2014. A lot of artists that I discovered there actually put me onto techno music. So from there, I started playing techno, and then to look for the techno that I actually liked, I had to really kind of recreate Bongani Zulu in a sense, because I had to try to define my own style instead of trying to copy other people's and trying to figure out my own sound. So a lot of influences kind of led to the music that I play now, but it's still an ongoing process. I don't think you ever find your final form as a musician, because you always get influenced by different things or different genres that you listen to all the time. Right now, I'm getting influenced by a lot of indie rock music. I really like the guitar sounds that a lot of indie artists kind of play. For example, Tame Impala, their music is super amazing. The soundscapes are honestly some of the best music I've ever heard. So I've been influenced by a lot of people like that. One smaller artist is Triathlon, they produce the same type of music. I'm also listening to a lot of hip hop right now as well. But none of the really mainstream people, very underground. And also a lot of jazz music right now too, like Nubia Garcia, Roy Ayers as well right now I'm listening to. Yeah, so a lot of like jazz, hip hop and indie rock music. Thank you guys for the interview. Thank you to Round Robin Recordings for hosting me, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm Bongani Zulu, and these are my 10 favorite tracks on Round Robin Recordings.